YouTube Nation, Manvent TV, aka me TV, aka what a horrible night to have a curse. I'm just saying. Now, with that being said, guys, I want to say thank you for watching the show. Thank you for sending me information. We've got a great show for you today, but today's show is brought to you by Gungrave. That's right, because when the media kicks you down and leaves you for dead, the gamers just come back from the dead to kick their asses. That's all it is. Look, guys, we need to move on. Like I said, we got a lot of positive stuff. I'm sure you've already read the the video title. All right, so let's get into the stuff. You know how we do things. I'll give you the bad news first, and then we will move on to the positive stuff. So let's start. All right, now. Today, I want to talk about Sony real quick because for the previous 2 weeks, we spoke about the Sony terms of service, did we not? We spoke about how, you can't sue them in a class action lawsuit, but you can sue them individually. Now, that was fine. And last week, I told you guys that they gave you an opt-out clause where there's a loophole in it where you can send in, notes, mail, I should say, written with your signature saying that, you don't believe in that, all right? They gave you an option. All right, because Sony wants you to sue them individually, and as we all know, those lawyers will crush you individually. They'll bleed you dry, but that's not the point. They gave you an opt-out, whatever, all right? Now, I want to say that in these previous 2 weeks, we have seen in forums from gamers everywhere that and I believe you guys call them Sony ponies, They've just been defending Sony, saying you shouldn't be able to sue Sony. It's ridiculous. Anybody who wants to sue Sony, they're just money hungry. Like, Sony can do no wrong. And we know that's bullshit. Well, because of that, Sony has come out and said that they expect only 1%. That's right, 1% of their entire fan base to to take action with this opt-out. That means they don't care because it's not a big deal. Fans aren't getting on them enough. That's what it means. All right, guys? Well, because of that, because everyone's starting to follow each other, EA has stepped up. That's right, and they're going to follow Sony now. So now, Origins, in their terms of service, they say, because they took it to the next level, they said, you can't sue them. You can't sue them. We say, okay, well, yeah, you can't sue them class action. No. Understand. You can't sue them class action lawsuit or individually. I told you give them an inch and you take a mile. And Sony says, before that, the reason they went by this was because, AT&T just had that, that court case, and that opened the door for them. So Sony went through the door, right? Now EA going through the door. Who's next? I told you, gamers, if you don't make a big deal about these things, they'll just keep doing it. They'll keep taking more rights. I understand that you guys just want to play video games. You don't want to deal with that. But I told you, those days are over. To be a gamer, you have to be educated. You have to read those terms of service. I understand they are long and there's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo, but you have to read that stuff. Understand, pretty much, you are giving up your consumer rights to play video games. That's what's happening right now. Can't do that, guys. That's unacceptable, and it's ridiculous that it has to come to that just to play a video game. It's ridiculous. Now, I want to move on because more EA news. They say that the digital future is still in the future. That's what they're saying, all right? Even though we all know they're still trying to push it, but this is what they're saying, all right? Electronic Arts CFO Eric Brown comes out and says that it's not going to happen because of retailers. Now, it says if you don't already know, physical retailers don't make much money off of the consoles themselves. They don't, all right? It says if any at all, depending on the deal, all right? Now, it says most revenue comes from the software and the accessories for those consoles, so then you know why add-on sales are already, they try to tell people to push add-on sales. It says, here are a couple of quotes from CFO of EA, all right? It says, you need a retail partner to stock the consoles. You just do, all right? It says, I don't see all the consoles being ordered via mail. It says, he said, there's going to be people that go in and want to see a display, the form factors, etc. Now, what he means is for those who've ever been to a GameStop or any other place that, deals with video games, you see cardboard cutouts, there are displays, you see, reps that come in and talk to the employees and show the form factors. They have the booklets with them and everything. Trust me, I had to deal with that type of stuff when I used to work at Electronics Boutique years ago, and they still do it today. Guys, understand this is a big reason why it won't work. However, it says about eliminating the disc completely. It says if you were to completely eliminate physical distribution of a disc, it says the margin opportunity has lost the entire category. To the retailer, it radically alters their view of the category. So it's for that reason that I just don't see it for a foreseeable future, a complete shift in digital game delivery. Understand that, guys. So understand, we're still going to get what we want, all right? But as we all know, for them to say that the digital future isn't coming, we all know they're trying to push it hard, all right? So regardless of what he says, they're going to try to push it. They're going to try to force it down your throats, regardless. And it goes by their company tactics and pricings and all that. So regardless of what he's saying, they're still trying to do it. That's what it comes down to. All right, now, David Cage comes out and says, America has a problem with his games. Now, when first off, let me tell you now, all right? The headline, very misleading, all right? America has, to blame all America, at first that's how I looked at it. I was like, wait a minute, America has problems with games. I know he's not talking about the gamers. No, he's not talking about the gamers. He goes on to talk about, advertisers and publishers, or how they don't know how to market his games. He goes on to talk about how there's a ton of arguments, especially with Atari, when, was it the Nomad Soul, how they had to change the name and it wasn't going to work, and about Fahrenheit, and there's things that he said it works. Like when you have an action game, he talks about how you can always market explosions and things that you can do and X amount of guns and a hero. He said, but when you have a game that's based off of a story, they don't know how to market it. Meaning, advertisers are dragging their asses. That's what it means. And he goes on in great detail about this. So, David Cage, let me say, I was upset when I first read it because of the fact that because of this, games are at a standstill when it comes to marketing. This is why the market has become safe. This is why everyone's doing all the FPSs and all this other bullshit, because it's easy to sell, because it's easy to market. They're just giving you microwave bullshit. And he's coming out and saying, games that are unique aren't given the time of day, and he's urging people who make those type of games, just keep working hard at it. That's what he's saying. Keep working hard at it, and they'll eventually have to respect you if you're successful. And it goes on to say that Heavy Rain has sold over 2 million copies now, all right? We just talked about this not too long ago, so why are you bitching about 1 million copies, when you didn't expect it to sell anyway? But 2 million copies with no advertising, it sold itself. And you want to know why it sold itself? Because word of mouth from the gamers. That's what it came down to. Demon's Souls was like that. Word of mouth from the gamers. That didn't have any advertising. There's a lot of games that have been great that didn't have any advertising. But that's what it comes down to. It goes to show you that what the American market, and I don't want to say stereotypes, because we just talked about this last week, about what Sony in their talks about stereotyping a region, but stereotypes with games. They can easily, seriously, how many times can you see that Modern Warfare commercial, what was it, last year, with the Eminem track in the background and all this other. They know how to get you. All right, that's the advertisers. They know how to get. They're gonna tell you what's cool. All right, you're not judging for yourself anymore. What's cool? They're gonna tell you what's cool. Anyways, guys, we need to move on. All right, because Square's come out and said that the Final Fantasy brand is greatly damaged. All right, and you know what? Good. And I said, and I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy, but how long have we seen Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy? And we keep saying, we've been saying it since the late 90s, early 2000s, why aren't you giving these other games that you have any type of breathing room? Vagrant Story, the Chrono series. I mean, seriously, Parasite Eve should have been bigger than what it was, if you ask me. After the first one, it should have taken off. But you made two more like Resident Evil, and then you made the other one for the PSP. It took how many years? So it goes to show you that you banked on Final Fantasy. All right, instead of giving your other games a chance to breathe, which would have gave you more development time for a proper Final Fantasy. That's what you did, Square. You fucked up. So Square is coming out and admitting that they damaged it. They're admitting they messed up. However, since they're admitting this, they go ahead and register a Final Fantasy 13 Part 3 website. Yeah, so it kind of destroys the whole purpose of saying it. Anyways, guys, in Konami news, I want to talk about this real quick because Konami is coming out with anyone who's thinking about picking up Pro Evolution Soccer, 2012, they're going to punish online quitters. Anybody, and it says here, Konami is implementing a new feature in the Pro Evolution Soccer 2012 which ensures gamers who quit intentionally in the football game's online component will be punished. Gamers who purposely pull out of their match in order to evade defeat will consequently and completely blocked from PES 2012 competitions. It says, additionally, Konami has cleverly made an option that sees players with poor reputations being forced to play within an online match with each other. So the people who do play fair will play at a higher level, and the people who quit, obviously, so they don't lose because they're losers. Seriously, it's a game. They'll only be able to play each other. That's what it means, all right? So the losers will be stuck with the losers. That's a good idea if you ask me. Now, I want to talk about this more on Konami because for those who don't know, happy 25th anniversary. That's right, Castlevania. Now, you know what? For me, it just seems like Castlevania doesn't get enough credit for what it's due. So let's look at the history real quick of how far Castlevania has come. Man, that brings back some great memories. I mean, seriously, but every time I talk about Castlevania these days, the first thing that comes out of people's mouth is Symphony of the Night. Now look, I like Symphony. I love Symphony of the Night. I'm just as big a fan as anyone else. But then they go, Alucard's the biggest badass of them all. He can't be stopped. Look. I'm old school, baby. All right. Understand, the original badass, the most badass vampire slayer ever, in my opinion, is Simon Belmont. And you can't do anything to stop that man. There will be nothing ever that Alucard can do, in my eyes, that can top Simon Belmont. All right. Understand the Belmont family. If anyone who has been a fan of Castlevania, if you're reading the stories as you're playing, there's a lot of history there, a lot, and the stories they're just crazy because these characters go through so much pain and suffering, and it's like, and I feel as though Castlevania is heavily underrated, and I was very sad to see that there was nothing done for the Castlevania 25th anniversary. So I had to pay some type of homage or homage, or any way you want to say it, all right? I had to pay respect to it, and I want to say this now. Harmony of Despair just came out not too long ago on the PSN. That's how you do a Castlevania game. That's how you do it. I'm sorry. I like my games. I like my Castlevania like I like my Metroid, all right? Old school, if you need to HD it up, by all means, go ahead. Old school, side-scrolling. That's how I like my stuff. All right, now, I need to move on because Valve has come out, and this is some news that may, please some of you guys. Valve has come out, and they want to release a Defense of the Ancients 2 beta, all right? But they say they want to make it as fast as they can. Now, I have a problem with that. I understand it's a beta, but you shouldn't be rushing a beta. If you know that it's going to have problems, it's a beta, it's going to have problems, all right? But you don't rush a beta. Take your time, Valve. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck this up. Anyways, I'm going to move on. Microsoft is reversing bans after what happened a couple weeks ago, and apparently, for what I'm hearing, they're giving out some goodies. All right, for those who were banned, unjustly or wrongly, hey, we want to put it. But anyways, I don't know if that's enough. We'll see what the 360 gamers say. Microsoft also policies for all you, they call you guys Xbox. Yeah, you guys that beat your chest and say that Microsoft is the best, understand that Microsoft policies are getting in the way of free DLC. That's right. Witcher 2 developers come out and say that gamers are being treated like dairy cows by DLC. Now, Witcher 2, as I've reported a couple months ago, is coming to the 360. And they wanted to give you guys free DLC, but because of Microsoft policies, they can't do that now. So understand, all you 360 guys who think that Microsoft is the best, they're actually holding you back from experiences. So you'll be paying for something that's supposed to be free. This is why the PC community, this is why PC guys are sitting back and laughing at console people. This is another reason. Now, these aren't the other, these aren't the only guys who've come out and said this. All right, we've seen this for months now, that developers are walking away from Microsoft because of their policies. We've seen just not too long ago, they were complaining about not getting enough, indie developers are not getting enough, publishing or enough, advertising from Microsoft for their stuff. So a lot of people are angry at Microsoft right now. All right, so 360 guys, if you love your 360 and you think it's the best, you should be making a big deal out of this. You should be going to Microsoft or getting on Microsoft's back and saying, hey, we don't agree with your policies. All right, we really don't. And I understand Microsoft's going to say, whatever, you're still paying for live, but understand they're holding you back. Yes, they're holding you back from experiences. They're making you pay for something you shouldn't be. All right, now, I'm going to move on. All right, DICE. Now, we're going to talk about this for a minute because DICE is very nervous about Battlefield 3. Now, a lot of you guys, I talked to a lot of you guys about Battlefield 3, and, you were in the beta or whatever, and a lot of you people are very angry. Very angry. You're saying that it looks like bad company, and there's gamers who are so angry. And there's already a comparison already that it looks better for the PS3 than it does the 360, and that the PS3 is having a ton of issues, and so it's going to be even worse for the 360. And PC guys are, once again, laughing again. So it seems like DICE doesn't know what's going on. They're very nervous. I can see now why. We've seen, in the previous weeks, oh, we're not in competition. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. Well, now we know why. All right? Because they're very nervous. Maybe this game isn't going to be what people think it is. Maybe it's not. We don't know, but we won't know until the finished product. But however, because people are so angry at DICE, DICE lashed back out at angry fans. For Battlefield 3, look, DICE, you can't do that, man. Understand that you have to stay professional at all times. You cannot do that. Understand, if your fans get angry, they're going to get angry. But if you lash out at them, you're driving away sales. You can't do that, all right? And understand that, it's not your problem because it's EA's publishing. They're going to take the hit. But they still fund your gaming. You're developing. So you can't do that. Don't go off on the fans, all right? You're going to have fans that's going to yell at you. But, regardless, I understand you think you work hard and it's artistic integrity and all this other stuff. But understand, when you have artistic integrity and then you turn around and say it's a business, you can't use both of them. You just can't. All right, now, DICE, seriously, I'll put this as nicely as possible. If you don't know how to, approach the situation, just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. It's trust me, it's best that way. Now, I want to move on because I read an article not too long ago that you guys sent me that is very disappointing. Very disappointing, all right? And this is about Hispanics and blacks missing in the game industry. Now, look, guys, when I read the title of this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, they're talking about writers, developers, publishers. No. They go on to this guy, Damon Packwood, goes on what we've talked about for years and years. And you've seen on forums, you've seen it everywhere in gaming, all right? So he goes on to say, the pixelated elephant in the room of the multi-billion-dollar game industry, African Americans and Hispanics play and purchase video games more than any other ethnic group in the U.S. That's right. It says, yet the overwhelming majority of characters in games are young white males. According to the video game industry, we don't need another hero. Now look, guys, we all know this is it's pretty much the same cliche crap that we've heard before. Why aren't there enough black, simply put, why aren't there enough black protagonists? Well, the guy obviously isn't doing his research, and he has to understand that black protagonists are on the rise. We just saw this with Prototype 2, and we're getting ready to see it with Starhawk. All right, so that's 2 right there. All right, Final Fantasy 8. I don't even know if Kyros was black or not. We had Barrett. Even though he was pretty much stereotypical, but this guy has to realize that most of these games come from Japan. All right, he has to understand that. And there's a lot of black characters, even if they're not the main character, they're we'll just call them supporting actors. All right, that also are pretty cool, but they're still stereotypical in a way. All right, but you have to understand, if you decide to come out and say there's not enough black this, enough black that, if we start getting more black developers and more black publishers and more black writers, and they make more black characters, then people are going to look at that as racist. Why? Because now you're causing a divide. So we're just going to have our own black community make video games. That's going to look bad. All right? You make video games for anyone. Any gamer will tell you, in an industry where you can play as aliens, where you can play women, children, men, zombies, it doesn't matter. You can play as anything. You should not be bringing up the color problem. And that's what this is. You're causing a problem. All right? Now, like I said, it is slowly but surely moving on. I understand a lot of people are going to say, well, it's about time because all we had was CJ from, was it Grand Theft Auto? Yeah, I understand. All right? But it is slowly but surely moving on. Understand, like I said, a lot of these things are made in Japan, and, they make the models off of them. It just so happens that Caucasian people are closely reflected as them. Understand? Plus, they have to westernize things as well. So understand, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, look at Nier. Yeah, look at Nier. All right? The original character was some scrawny little kid who, white hair carrying on, and people didn't think that was going to work. So when they brought it over to the West, they made this muscle-bound guy who looked like he's been playing football for 20 years, to fight. So understand, guys, that this article, even though it does give some good points, it's already behind because gamers have talked about this before. All right, so I'm very disappointed in the article due to the fact that he's just barking up the racism tree, and he should know better. Anyways, guys, I want to talk about some Capcom real quick. All right, yeah, I know. Resident Evil 4 HD doesn't cost as much as Capcom. It doesn't cost what Capcom said it would. All right, now we're seeing this because Resident Evil 4, for what I'm hearing, the HD version isn't really HD. For what I'm hearing from gamers, it's just an upscaled version of Resident Evil 4. That's all I'm hearing. Alright, so this isn't really true HD. Now, this is what I'm hearing from gamers. I haven't purchased it myself, so maybe one of you guys who have purchased it can let me know what's going on. Alright, I'm just saying. Now, I want to keep talking about Capcom news because Capcom, they have to understand, I know a lot of people are mad. I got a lot of mail this week about Mega Man, and people want me to talk about Mega Man and how they're still not doing anything with Mega Man. Well, I told you before, guys, what I said last week about how you, in a few they could, just make something, and maybe if you need to, I don't know, say leak it or so, or and people were saying, well, it is Capcom's baby, they have the rights, and I said, well, I'm sure he still has connections. Well, gamers, once again, are taking over, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a new Mega Man in the works from fans. That's right, from fans, called Mega Man X Corruption.
研ぎ澄まされた運命を糧今輝くためにこの牙を向け試練は乗り越えられない人に襲いかかりはしない作り笑いそのままなの幸せ れた声が消えゆくまでこの心を叫び野蛮に踊れ死んだみたいに生きていても何も意味はない痛みを恐れてばかりの甘えているガキはお家へ帰れ未来を切り裂く気は捨てるような奴らに興味はない
I like what I'm seeing, and for what I'm hearing, it's only one guy making all this, so it's going to take a little long to make. All right, guys. Now, I will say this, that we have more gamer news. All right, student design. Do your laundry while you game. What I'm talking about, well, link is in the info bar. Guys, they have made a laundry machine / arcade cabinet. Yes, all right. So understand, while your laundry spins, you can play video games. All right, guys, this is getting crazy. I mean, gamers are just, students and gamers, they're just stepping up and doing everything. They really are. I mean, what can you do for an encore after last week? Well, we'll talk about that later. But in more news, Irrational reveals abandoned game. That's right. Also, Season Pass is coming for Forza 4, provides access to 6 DLC packs. That's already... stop. Anyways, Chrono Cross and Final Fantasy Origins have been rated for the PSN. Dragon Quest X has direct feed footage now released by Squaresoft, alright, or Square Enix, or Square, however you like to call them these days. Rage, yes, the single player campaign will last around 15 hours, and like I said before, if you do not get that online pass with it, guess what? They're going to cut your single player play. Now, let's keep going, alright? If you pre-order Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, you get Call of Duty 4 for free. That's what I'm seeing here, alright? Now, there's also another game going free to play, Neo Crisis, alright? It says it's the thing that gets MMOs, and it's free to play. Now, also, Fighting Force, old school Fighting Force, will be hitting the PlayStation Network, alright? Soul Calibur, pay attention, Soul Calibur Story Mode will be done by CyberConnect 2. This is sounding better and better, people. Also, Deus Ex Human Revolution is missing 100 features. That's right, because of all the DLC. Missing 100 features, including a meaningful ending. That's sad. Also, Eidos Montreal outsourced Deus Ex boss battles, so they didn't even do that either. So pretty much, they didn't do half the work, and they're milking you on DLC. That's crazy. Also, NIS announces a new open world action RPG. Ace Combat comes out with more maps and planes DLC, which I have in the link in the info bar for you guys. And I want to talk about this real quick because video game sales in 2009 declined. Right? All right. Now, also, video game sales declined again in 2010. Yes, so this is starting to become a problem. Now, I want to say why, because arcades are starting to make a comeback. Now, for those who've been reading the fan page as of last weekend, I told you guys I had a lot of information that didn't make the show, so that could have been like a 3-hour show. All right, so you understand what I was talking about, where it said, you know, arcade games, you know, arcade developers are better to make console games for Kinect and things of that nature. So understand that arcades are coming back. Now, I want to talk about this because there's a guide that has been put out by 1UP about a guide to Tokyo's retro gaming bars. That's right, because now they're going all over places. Link in info bar so you can see what's going on over in Japan. Please check it out. Also, in more gaming bar news, that's right, one of our own, that's right, our regulars, his friend, has decided over at Perth, Western Australia, has opened up a gaming bar. It is inside the Perth train station. Let's take a look at those pictures real quick. Seriously, and you Aussies that are out there, please go and support it. This is what you want. This is let's say gamers are doing it. They're not waiting anymore. They're getting tired, they're getting fed up, and they're going to open them up themselves. Seriously, I applaud him for doing that. Now we need to move on. I want to talk about this. 6 arcade games. Just so we're gonna stick on arcades for a minute. 6 arcade games that are too awesome to get released in the West. That's right. Now I'm gonna run this down because for those who don't know, number 6, Sonic Blast Heroes. It is a dinosaur punching simulator. Now this will probably remind you, remember back in the day, I'll say the name for those who remember, Sonic Blast Man. That's right, alright? Now, I need to move on. Number 5, Let's Go Island 3D. The big screen 3D shark shooting game. It's for couples, apparently, alright? And it's hilarious because the link that I'm giving you, it has pictures, it has trailers, it has everything, and it also tells you where you can find these things as well. Alright, so everything I'm showing you. Also, number 4, Heat Up Hockey, Psychedelic Future Air Hockey. I mean, seriously, guys, this is an amazing thing. This article, I felt, brought a smile to my face due to the fact that you don't see things like this that much anymore. Also, here's something that I'll have some fun with some fans. I've actually played this, all right, but not the design that they have here, all right. Initial D takes a car game literally too seriously, and what it means is you actually get in the Initial D car and play. Alright, so I haven't played that one, alright, but I did play the Initial D one that is in the US, where you sit down in the seat and actually the screen's in front of you. Man, guys, this is amazing, seriously. And like I said, everything, it tells you where you can find it, it tells you where you can play it, it tells you all the, all the trailers, all the screenshots. It's amazing. Also, number 2, Eternal Wheel. Oh, this is called Eternal Wheel. It says, if card games were awesome. Just saying, it's an electronic card game apparently. You put your cards on the thing. It's actually really cool. I mean, it's almost like how Eye of Judgment would have been if it had a bigger production. I'll put it like that, because you actually have a screen and a platform and all this. Seriously, guys, check it out if you can. Also, the last one, Mobile Suit Gundam, Bonds of the Battlefield, a giant robot battle pod. Now, look, I've actually had a chance in New York to play the battle pods, all right? Now, it wasn't Gundam, all right? But I will say this, the battle pods when I played in New York, this was years ago, all right, were amazing. You actually sat in the pod, it closed down on you, you actually had controllers, and you had multiple pods so you can play as teammates or against each other, all right? And the big screen was in front of you, and you actually moved. The pod moved as you moved. It was an amazing experience. Why this is not brought back is just crazy. Seriously, this Gundam game, this is what Gundam fans or just robot fans in general who love robots, this is what you want. This is exactly what you want. Anyways, guys, it's a great article. It has so much that it gives you so much information. Also, I want to talk about this real quick, guys, because last week we heard that gamers broke the AIDS enzyme, which is still, my God, it's still amazing. It's still amazing, all right? But you think, what can these guys do for an encore, right? Well, let's talk about it, because online gamers, discover 2 new planets by playing a browser game. So all you guys who say browser games suck, looks like they don't suck right now, so you eating crow. And also the media, once again, why hasn't this been put out? Gamers 2 weeks in a row have kicked you in the ass, and you're still scared to show it on the news. You're still scared to mass produce this so that people will understand. See, you're not fooling nobody. And gamers have stepped up again. Like I said, I don't ever want to hear the days of gamers being lazy anymore. And speaking of gamers, and speaking of more arcades, guys, the UK culture minister wants to put a games room in Parliament. He wants to, all right? But a lot of people are fighting on him. Fighting him on it, all right? They're fighting him on it, but he needs support. Guys in the UK, show your love, man. Show your love at this point. Look, guys, we've had a great week. Once again, gamers are still doing their thing. I know I had some bad news, but hey, you know how that goes. Anyways, like I said, whatever didn't make the show, I will put on the Facebook page for more news for you guys. I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. And this next trailer does have spoilers. So if you're not thinking about picking this up on Tuesday, by all means watch it. But some of you guys who want to be surprised, I would say stop the video right now. I'll talk to y'all later. I'm out.
One day will this be?